Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Football United TV. It's Thursday, so that means one thing. It's got to be Gunners from all corners. Now it's time for that famous intro. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's show. Now, don't panic. I know we see a blank screen down here, but that's Bargav. I think he's gone to get his headphones. Is it, Manny?
Yep, that's what he said.
He's gone to get his headphones. He's just talking to us about his bike riding before we went live. Totally forgot the time. Apologise for everybody being late. Well, for us being late. Manny, how are you?
All good. Wonderful to be back on this stream, and I hope to come a lot more often. And it's a good time. I mean, you know, it is a little bit late for me in my neck of the woods, but I have no complaints about that. And one of the things I told myself when I started doing this whole YouTube thing was to tune my mind and body to the UK time. So it is what it is. I find my way to get my hours of sleep, and I'm a happy chappy.
Oh, good. Well, you know me, Manny. I've always liked you on the show, and you know we always share and got the same views and opinions on things. Bargav, welcome to the show, mate. It has been a while, but welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. It's been a while, but it's lovely to be here. I mean, after a Champions League victory like yesterday, so.
No, yeah, and obviously we mentioned about your hair being windswept. Obviously, you coming back from a long, prosperous bike ride. How did that go?
It went well. I mean, I was surprised. I was able to do it. I mean, I'm building up the stamina. I'm going to go longer distances and get some cardio, and I have some free time. So, I mean, got to use that time for health, I guess.
Yeah, you got to use it. I don't know. How long did you say you was on the ride for?
It was a good 2 hours, but I also jump rope in between. Trying to get the cardio up, I guess. Trying to get the cardio up
right.
Before the end of the year. I have some time, so.
No,
I can't do skipping rope to save my life. I mean, you know, it's a matter of coordination. I envy these guys who just are able to do that so lackadaisically and so blithely without any problems. And whenever I try to do that, I either get the rope caught in my feet, or I do it a bit too quickly. I guess there are some things I'm just not meant to master.
No. Well, I've actually seen your videos, Manny. You know, going to the gym. Are you still going to the gym? And
yes, sir. Still going. Still doing the exercises. What you saw with the squats that day, and I've sort of had to relearn how to do that because I've been told that the bar actually should be a little bit lower, sort of on the shoulders as opposed to being a bit on the neck, because I run the risk of really doing some damage. So I've had to relearn how to do that. But it's all good. I mean, I'm starting from scratch once again, relearning everything. I'm not a big fan of leg day, to be honest, Anthony. For me, it's either chest or even back. And today was the back. Enjoyed that immensely.
Yeah. I go to the gym myself as well. I only go about 3 times a week because obviously with me being in the construction trade, I'm heavy lifting all the time. Look, so it's pretty much 8 hours throughout the day and that. So I only go there for about an hour. Hour and a half, I should say. I go there, go to the gym, do a bit of a workout, go for a nice swim, and then what I do after, I go into the sauna and then into the jacuzzi. So it's just to top it off nicely, give the muscles a bit of a massage. After a good workout. So, but apart from that, I'm fine. But I think my body's telling me now to slow down because I start to feel aching all around the the joints and all that. So, you know, and I suppose I should. I'm in my mid-40s now, so you know, it's one of those things.
Yeah, Anthony, I'm in my early 40s, so I do feel you. But one thing I can tell you is that when you pace yourself well, you know, it's really only second nature that you start to get everything. So don't try to go too hard. I mean, recently I had some pain in my knee, and that was a symbol that I had to slow down a bit. The doctor said, son, you're going to be fine. Stay away from the gym for a week, take some medicine, give yourself some rest, and you'll be as good as new.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, I have to start with leg day again very soon.
Oh, blimey.
Just do it on Monday. Just do it on Monday. Everybody does leg days on
Yeah,
Friday.
just
do it on Monday, and then
yeah,
the good stuff happens the rest of the week.
Yeah, just let all the good stuff fold in. Just do the easy stuff and the other stuff, and it'll just start folding in. But just gradually do it as you go along. That's the best way. That's my advice anyway. But listen, we got to get on with this show. We're 6 minutes in. Right, GalaxoKits.com. Everybody, this is a company who we are sponsored by. They sponsor this show. They do a wide range of football tops, football kits, jerseys, whatever you want to call them. They do it from this season, from last season, season before, and going back. They've even got a few, quite a lot of retro stuff, because everybody seems to like the retro stuff as well. So everybody give it a look at through that. The prices are good, very good. I'm not just saying that. I've actually bought a couple of tops myself. They're upstairs, but my missus said I wasn't allowed to have them until Christmas. So, all right, fair enough. And then, obviously, they're authentic, really good. Listen, it's kits, football jerseys from football leagues all around the world. So, have a butcher's at that, and hopefully you might pick up something that you like and get the missus to buy you it for Christmas. That's what I've done. But but there you go. I'm just going to quickly get the comments, because there's a few comments in here. So G Blackman, same winners, yeah. And big up, by the way, and thanks for tuning in. AFC always. Arsenal won't get past the quarterfinals in the Champions League. He's saying, well, we'll come to that, and we'll discuss that later on in the show. But big up, and thanks for tuning in anyway. BS Gunner 81. Good evening, everybody. Good evening to you. And King TV, big up everyone. Sevilla didn't even show up yesterday. Well, we're going to be talking about that later on within the show as well. But thank you for tuning in. Also, AFC always says Havertz running away from the ball every match. Wrong runs, hides behind opponents instead of giving solutions. Well, do you know what? I agree with that totally 100%. But we'll come to Kai Havertz later on throughout the stream. And then Matt says, welcome everyone. Okay, let's get up to our first thing here. Right. Now, I've had my rant about this game. Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0. I've gone on a couple of shows. Big up to them. There were so many, I can't name them all. I'm just going to give my short opinion again, because it just, after a while, it does get fed up and boring. It's time to move on from this and that. But all I want to say is Arsenal, in my opinion, was absolutely dire in this game. They may as well have not turned up, to be honest with you. If stats according to me right from the last time I seen it, we had one shot on goal, and that must have been the shot from Martinelli that went straight to Poot. That was it. Regarding everything else in the game, I thought we were poor from the goalkeeping situation right up to the top, to the strikers. We didn't do anything in this game at all. VAR, as it says there, was we robbed. I think VAR had 3 decisions. First one, whether the Newcastle goal was offside. Number 2, whether it was a foul in the box, maybe a possible penalty. And also number 3 was the goal, the ball. Was it behind the line? Was it out of play? And was it behind the line? Well, I could tell you what, my opinion on those 3. Number 1, I don't think it was offside. This is my opinions. This is my views. Number 2, the foul. The more I look at it, sometimes I'm like 50-50, but it was one of those, in my opinion, if the referee would have blown up and called it, he would have called it. End of. He would have said it was a foul, and it would have been disallowed, the goal. But unfortunately, it wasn't. So, that's it. Life moves on. But with this last one, the one that I've got the problem with was the ball going past the line. Now, I've looked at it on different streams. I've looked at it on Sky Sports News here. I've seen it from 3 different angles. And from the 3 possible different angles that I've seen it, the ball was actually past the line. Even though the ball's got to be 100% past the line, in my opinion, that ball was 99.9% past that line. So that's enough of my rant. Do you know what? Bargav, I'm going to come to you on this one first. What's your thoughts and opinion of the game? Was we robbed? And also, what's your thoughts on VAR decision in this game as well?
No, I mean, so we were abysmal, man. Our creativity is not there. I think that should be blame number 1 on that on the game as a whole. I think we were absolutely poor. We've been poor. That was like the rebound game that was a rebound game when you think about it after going out of the cup. So it was an abysmal back-to-back performance. Now this place has been pretty rough for us, right? Like, I mean, I think, did we win there last year away from home?
We did.
Yeah.
So we put that to rest from the previous year, which was the worst, one of the worst defeats for Arsenal. But still, it's a tough place to go as far as the VAR decisions. So I think that's like the state of like English refereeing though, because in Europe, I think that it would have. I think they would have actually called something. They would have made the right decision in Europe though. But at the same time, when you look at it, like I think I agree with you on that. Like it looked out of bounds. So, but the question of like, are we robbed? I don't think we were. In a way, yes. I guess like you can say like 2 points dropped, and sometimes that's a big deal. So in a way, yeah, I think we were robbed in a sense. Like I think it should have been 0-0. I mean, but the only time that matters is if we go undefeated at this point.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's just, I just felt it was disappointing all over. I mean, it's like what I just said. The offside wasn't offside. If the foul, listen, everybody's got their own opinions on it. To me, it was 50-50. The referee didn't give it. That's no problems to me. But it's like what I said. That ball did look like it was out of play. But we've had Manny's thoughts on this.
We had.
Bargav's thoughts on this. Manny, I'm going to come to you on this one. Sorry.
I will echo what Bargav said and will say this. No, we absolutely were not robbed. We didn't do anything to really deserve more than a point from the game. And, the fact that, the decision is still something that people talk about, and Arteta had the nerve to say it was embarrassing and a disgrace. I think that was disgraceful. That was embarrassing. And what was embarrassing was the club standing behind him, especially after he had the nerve to try and defend VAR and say, in light of Jurgen Klopp's struggles with Liverpool earlier on, he had the nerve to say that we've got to try as managers to understand how it operates. But then when the shoe was firmly on the other foot, he wasn't able to, accept it. He wasn't able to, tolerate it. And it sort of makes him out to be a bit of a hypocrite. Now, I've got some bad news for you, Mr. Herbert. I've just checked out this wonderful article on BBC Sport by Simon Stone saying that the decision to award the Newcastle United goal was correct. But there is a bit of a fine print here saying that the 5-person panel on the key match incidents panel for the Premier League, they basically ruled by a 4-1 margin that there wasn't enough evidence, or there was insufficient evidence to overrule the on-field decision to award Anthony Gordon's goal. And that means that, they were satisfied that when Joe Willock, the ex-gunner, kept the ball in play, they were satisfied that he was able to bring it back, back into play, and it didn't completely cross the line. and there was no offside. And when Joe Linton had his hands on Gabriel Jesus's back, that wasn't deemed to necessarily be a foul. But they also said that Havertz and Guimaraes did not deserve to be sent off. I mean, they deserved to be sent off. They didn't deserve to remain on the field. And, it was those were two mistakes that should never have been committed. And the Newcastle players, well, you can understand how angry they were when that when Havertz wasn't given his marching orders. And I'm of the opinion that when it comes to VAR, it's there for a reason. It's there to eliminate controversy. You and I were talking about this on another stream. Shout out to David Cole, the old school gunner, by the way. And I think I was saying that one of the reasons why these controversies are happening is because the Premier League bigwigs enjoy the controversy. They don't want to spend the money necessary, Anthony, to get the technology needed to improve the way things are going, which would be so much better for the game in question. Because if everything works smoothly, if there is no controversy and everyone is happy, then there are no headlines, there's no controversy, there's no drama, and you just don't get that intrigue, which makes it more of an intriguing product, I suppose. Yeah. It's stupid, and it shouldn't be that way. And they're so flush with money that they can use the technology that was used at the World Cup quite brilliantly to eliminate all controversy once and for all. Especially when you take a look at how Marcus Rashford was deemed to have not kept the ball in play, although several angles show that the ball was at least partly on the line, not completely over.
Yeah.
So it's the consistency that really angers us more than anything else. VAR should be here to stay, and it has gotten many decisions right. It's the incompetence of the officials that is to blame. I'm sure none of us would want to go back to the olden days where, some decisions were made without the benefit of hindsight and technology, and we had possibly referees coming out and saying, "I'm really sorry." And those poor decisions would end up being the main difference between teams either qualifying for a competition or winning a championship or staying in the league and not achieving any of those aims. And at least with VAR, we know that we have a way to, at least in theory, eliminate all of that. So, look, I'm satisfied that the goal was correctly given and Newcastle deserved that goal. And Willock should never have been allowed to run all the way to the corner flag to struggle to get that back in. And the desire that he showed, bear in mind, he played for us once upon a time. So that put our existing, all of our current players to shame. Where was the defending? You have to play, as many people have noted, you have to play to the whistle. You can't depend on things going your way all the time. You have to control what you can control. And if you can't control what you can control, don't blame anyone but yourself if things go out of control. Sorry for that tongue twister there, but I had to say it that way. So, no, we weren't robbed. We deserved nothing from that game. And I think I summed it up with a poem. Remember the 4th of November. We deserve nothing from that game. And if you still think that Arteta as a manager is better, all I will say is have some shame.
Yeah, no, that's
we have a similar poem, Parga, for Bonfire Night on the 5th of November in the UK. And we recite that poem every year on that day. I'll tell you about it later. I just changed the words, you see.
Just change the word, yeah. But it's like what you said with VAR is, to me, I know you like it. There's sometimes that they get a decision correct, they get a decision done. It's not a problem. But with this now, it's like what you said with this angle, with this ball being out, and then you turn around and say, in this game, the Newcastle and Arsenal game, then it was the Manchester United game, whether the ball was out in Brash. Are you thinking now that with this happening, a couple of times this week, do you think VAR would be monitoring this more now just to see if the ball does actually go out the line? Because personally, I think we're going to see a lot of this coming up, whether the ball was out of line, whether it was in play. I mean, we all know the ball's got to be over the line 100%. But, I can feel that this is going to be basically when I say like a random thing, is it going to be continuous? sort of thing. Because this is what it seems like. One thing only needs to come up, and then it's like a continuous onsway, like, you know.
Consistency is really what's required, Anthony. And as long as we as fans are satisfied that the right steps are being taken, there should be no room for complaints. Because we have to accept that there are going to be some problems in the way that it's being applied. It shouldn't be the case, but it is what it is. And slowly but surely, we will see all of these errors and other issues completely stamped out of the game. And of course, referees do, as shown in the rugby, apply some mitigating circumstances in certain cases. And I even spoke about that as well on that stream we did with David. And that's sort of the way it goes. So at the end of the day, we have no right to make any excuses. We have to take a look and look at our performance and see that we just weren't able to get anything from that game. We weren't good enough to get anything from that game. And we pick ourselves up and move on to face a Burnley side that will be smarting themselves after being on the receiving end of a VAR call. So they'll be determined to try to put things right, but I can't see anything other than an Arsenal win. But I'll tell you what, it might not necessarily be a comfortable win.
No, it might not.
Yeah, but have you seen the technology in the Champions League though? It's such a different, with the offsides and everything. Like the technology is very different. I think Premier League's eventually going to adapt. I think they vetoed that last year. Just because, I think they wanted to wait on it or something. I don't know. I think they just used last year's technology. But in the Champions League, it's a lot quicker. Like the new, if you've seen some of the games like PSG and Dortmund, they got the offsides on spot on.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the same technology, Pargav, that was used in the World Cup and other international competitions. So why can't the Premier League use that? And I think I've laid out my reasoning. The Premier League bigwigs love the controversy. They love the headlines it gets, and they know that the more controversy is generated, the more headlines come the Premier League's way. It's like, what they say in the entertainment business: drama sells, controversy sells. They love the sensationalism about everything. Efficiency is the enemy of promotion or marketing, as it were.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's true. I've noticed what we're touching on what Bargav just said. I noticed the decisions are really done quick as well. I mean, I can remember on the weekend, obviously here on Sky Sports News, and obviously when they're doing a roundup of all the games, the 3:00 kickoffs, one of them was Paul Merson, and it was obviously a goal was scored, whether the decision was offside. I can't remember what game it was, but he said, "Come back to me." And then it was 5 or 6 minutes later, they went back to him, and VAR still didn't make a decision. They couldn't still find it. Obviously, it was ruled offside in the end, but it took at least 5 to 6 minutes to sort that decision out, which to me is too long. Hence, I think sometimes when you get the 90 minutes up on the game, and you think, and then it comes up, it's an extra 8-9 minutes after the game, you think, well, where did they get that from? But then again, what they didn't think is, because obviously it's stop play for when the referee's looking at the VAR and trying to make the right decisions, even though it takes time. And this is obviously the time that gets added onto the game, obviously onto the end of the game, which personally I think is ridiculous. These 8 or 9 minutes, VAR needs to be there, done and dusted. Make a decision within 30 seconds after it's happened. Within 30 seconds, it shouldn't take longer. But it's like what Manny says. He's touched on it. Is apparently it obviously is not VAR. It's the people that's behind VAR. Right. I'm just going to hit a couple of more comments. It's just a few of them's coming in. AFC always. He said planks are good too. Oh, that's most probably what we were talking about with the gym. He then goes. He says, "I've got a cross trainer and a spin bike. I've put more work into that and what Havertz has done in the Arsenal shirt." Fair play, mate. Fair play. And then BX Gunner 81 said, "We didn't do ourselves any favors." We didn't. The poll is in and it's still going on. It says the poll so far. How far would Arsenal go into the Champions League? 60% are saying the quarterfinals, 20% are saying the semi-finals, and also 20% for the final as well. 0% as the winners. Does anyone think the Gunners can win it? Get your vote in now. I personally, no, I don't think we could win the Champions League. That's my. I would like a decent run in the Champions League. If I was to vote in that poll now, I would most probably say out of that, the lowest is quarterfinals. And that is most probably what I predicted between the round of 16 to quarterfinals this season. But obviously, we haven't got round of 16. We just got from the quarterfinals. So, Manny, how far do you reckon Arsenal go within this Champions League?
Oh, believe me, even if we qualify from the group stage, which isn't guaranteed, by the way, and I'll explain why, we're not going to go past the next round. We're certainly not going to reach the quarterfinals because I think this sort of segues into the Arsenal-Sevilla game, which we're probably going to talk about. And it was telling, really, Anthony, that Sevilla rested so many of their stars for this game, I couldn't even recognize it. They also did have their fair share of injuries with Ramos, Acuna, and the ex-Aston Villa goalkeeper, Orjan Nyland, unavailable for the game due to injury. But they also rested Luis Ocampos, Ivan Rakitic, and their captain, Jesus Navas, which was an absolute shocker for me personally, because in a Champions League game like that, you wouldn't want to rest your best players. I get that when you take a look at the standings, Sevilla obviously had 2 points and they saw their chances of progression from the group limited, so they probably wanted to focus more on the La Liga game at the weekend rather than try and expand their energies in the Champions League against an Arsenal side that, for what it's worth, were and still are top of the group. But here's the deal. If now, of course, the way things stand, if both Lens and PSV Eindhoven win their remaining games, and bear in mind they both have to play us, we could end up not qualifying. Because both Lens and Eindhoven will end up with 11 points each. We'll be stuck on 9, and it will be back to the Europa League for us. And so we cannot afford to lose either of our last 2 games. I know people will say that the game against Lens should be okay because we're at the Emirates, but look, there are no easy games or guarantees in the Champions League, as everyone will know. So we came up against a Sevilla team that were absolutely toothless. Juan Luis Sanchez started at right back instead of Jesus Navas, and he looked at times like a duck out of water. Gabriel Martinelli was, doing was sort of running rings around him, really. And they looked so, even though they were, credit to them, able to, stay compact and quite defensive, it was only a matter of time before we would break the deadlock. And lo and behold, thanks to Trossard, we did just that. And I think Mr. Condetti can agree with me that we now need to make sure that Trossard starts as often as possible as the false 9. And if we never see Edward Nketiah back there again, it will be too soon. But, I wouldn't call it... It was a dominant performance in some ways, but we should have had we should have had more shots on target. Our final delivery, as a lot of people noted, wasn't really up to the mark. And we still have a lot of issues, of course, in the way we can maintain our concentration, because we were very nearly caught out on a couple of occasions on the counter. So we still have bigger tests to undertake. And last season, when we went to PSV Eindhoven to play them the Europa League, they beat us. I know we creamed them 4-0 at the Emirates, but, again, we also beat them at the Emirates in the Europa League, and we lost on their home ground. So, it's a long time, really, a long gap between both of those games. And, of course, given the state of the group, with Sevilla, the Europa League champions, but in decline a little bit, PSV, without Ibrahim Sangare and a few others, are nowhere near the team they were last season. And Lens, of course, they were expected to be the whipping boys, given how low they were positioned in Ligue 1, and they beat us on their home ground. So if we don't qualify from this group, it would be humiliating. And the worst part is we cannot afford to lose either of our remaining games.
No,
because
no,
Sevilla, as far as I'm concerned, have now, become lambs of the slaughter. They will be expected to, lose both of their remaining games, although we might have to depend on them nicking a point or three to ensure that we qualify.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what you see. You touched on Sevilla, and to me, it seems like they, even though they're in the Champions League, but every now and then they seem to go out of the group competition down into Europa League and dominate the Europa League. I mean, they've won it. For instance, let's think of Unai Emery. He was one of them. When he was the manager there and won of the league. Won of the Europa League. But touching on your thought, I do agree, and I understand where you're coming from, Manny. I mean, it's safe to say you've done the maths on this, but see, Gunners from All Corners was on Fridays, and I switched it to Thursday, so I don't want to be going into Europa League on a Thursday. So that means I'll have to change this back to a Friday. So that's the way it's going to. If that's the way it is, that's the way it is. But and that's it. BX Gunner.
You'll find out if you have to change, Anthony, when we. I mean, if we beat Lens, then you can rest easy. But if we lose, then you're going to be sweating. That's all I can say.
Exactly. That's like it. Yeah. I think Matt will enjoy it. He gets his Friday nights out, and I got, unfortunately, I'll have to spend my Friday nights in. If we go. I mean, it's not that I do a lot anyway, but being a family man and all, but it's just nice to have a Friday off and chill and relax with the family, that sort of thing. But BX Gunner 81 says, I've seen Weirder wins, so anything is possible. Yeah, it's true, mate. We've seen all Weirder wins, sorry. And then Matt says 5. Well, what's that? Oh, 5 away from 900 subs. Thank you for your support. Yeah, thank you for your support. Let's see if we can try and get to, if it's 5, let's see if we could try and get to 900 by the end of this stream. I know it might be asking a lot, or even if it's 998, I'm not, as long as we're there, roundabouts, 900 after this stream would be fantastic. Bargav, did you want to touch on anything? What Manny what he's been saying?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about the Champions League. Apart from Bayern and Man City, I don't think there's. It's the best chance in a sense. Like, it feels like an open tournament.
Yeah,
like those two are miles clear. But Bayern's still not the same Bayern. Man City, I don't know. It's hard to figure them out until like the second half of the year.
Real Madrid, don't forget.
Real Madrid, yes, but they're still not. They still haven't. I still don't think they have clicked in the gear yet either.
They'll click in the knockout stages, my friend. That's the way champion teams roll.
It's their heritage. I mean, I think we could beat Barcelona though. I mean, but as far as like, I think the round of 16 for us, like when you look at the teams that could be there, like Copenhagen, they were tough. Feyenoord has been a really difficult team. They played really well this entire Champions League campaign. And there's still more to like be determined. How far we can go, it just depends on our offense, man. I feel like our defense is pretty solid and we have a chance. It just depends on like how we click into gear in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Now, as far as I was harping on yesterday being like a very important game because it was our chance to take a stranglehold on this group, and thankfully they showed up. This next game I think is going to be much harder because Lens I think match up really well midfield wise. Like they can really dominate our midfield. And, when they come to the Emirates, it's a must win for them. Like PSV, and for us, like PSV away is going to be tough. Like they're getting ready for that game like already, and PSV's top of the league. Like they're gonna rest their starters the week before. They're coming for us on that final day. So.
I'm just thinking of this game when we got Lens. Trouble is though, is like what I said. I've noticed now with Mikel Arteta, he's not been starting Zinchenko. He's been starting Tomiyasu, right?
Yes.
But in the last Lens game, you can tell what I'm going to say now. The mix-up between Rhea and Tomiyasu in the Lens game. Do you know what I mean? When it was, when he passed it out to him, and then the mistake happened, and obviously from that mistake they scored from it. So I was thinking, Rhea, does he really has to be on his A game on this one? Bargav, can I get your thoughts on Rhea for a second. What is your opinion? Obviously, we've got Ramsdale, both Ramsdale and Raya. Which one, mate, and why? Which one do you prefer to pick over the other one? I know he's got competition there now, Ramsdale, and obviously the favour's gone with Raya. But how do you separate the both?
I mean, the simple way of saying that is like one's a better shot. One does feel like a better shot stopper. Like I think Ramsdale's a better shot stopper.
Yeah.
The other one I think is better with the feet, and he gives us like more like angles to work with and options. Like I mean, some of those he did open up the Man City goal when you think about it. Like towards the end of it, like as bad as a game as that was. But for me, I think Raya is slightly better. I mean, he had the most saves last year too, so. It's really hard to say Rayo's not better, but it's not significant upgrade. Like it's not like getting Donnarumma in the team, and even then
don't even mention Donnarumma. That guy, in my opinion, is one of the most overrated goalkeepers in world football today. Emi Martinez ahead of him any day of the week.
Oh, yeah, Martinez, I like the Villa goalkeeper, our ex-goalkeeper. Do you know what?
Yeah,
World Cup winner, and he won the Manny's going to help me out here. What did he win?
The Golden Hands.
Yeah, Golden Glove Award in both the Copa America and the World Cup. He also won the Finalista with Argentina, beating Donnarumma's Italy. And of course, he was our FA Cup winner, and he is in action tonight. Aston Villa, by the way, have just taken the lead after being 1-0 down. So if they win, Villa, they will certainly take a big step in terms of qualifying for the next stage of the Europa League. I know they still can't keep clean sheets, and the high line, it's very risky. Alkmaar had far too many offsides in the first half, but in the second half, they sprung the trap brilliantly to take the lead. Aston Villa fought back quite well. Equaliser was fortuitous, but the second goal, brilliant header from Mr. Watkins. So, back to the Raya Ramsdale debate. I think Pargov's nailed it, really. Raya probably at the moment is sort of better with his feet. And the thing is, though, Raya was excellent for Brentford last season because Frank wanted to get his team playing in a certain way, and Raya suited that formation quite perfectly. I think what's been happening with Raya is that obviously with the fans being so much in love with their blue-eyed boy Ramsdale, they saw Raya as some interloper who came in to knock their golden boy off his perch, and they've been hounding him ever since he's made a few mistakes. And don't get me wrong, some of the mistakes he's made have not looked very good at all, but It's quite fair to say that he needs to be given a little bit more in terms of confidence and backing from the fans. And I think Arteta's done well to shut out the white noise and say, listen, I've picked Raya to be my number one. I think he's better for the type of football I want to play. So he is going to get some backing, and he will continue to play to get some games, which is very harsh, but we've seen this happen to several goalkeepers in the past, and Ramsdale is no different. Ramsdale did have his chance in the League Cup against West Ham, and it did not go at all well. And I would definitely say that as far as Ramsdale is concerned, I think he might have lost a little bit of confidence. So I would go so far to say that Raya, whenever he looks solid, he looks the part. He looks okay. If he doesn't try anything stupid, he's going to be fine. But there are plenty of aspects in his game in which he will have to improve. However, Ramsdale isn't without his own technical deficiencies. He is poor on crosses. In terms of his footwork, I see so much wrong with his with his footwork in many cases. He still gets beaten in his near post, and that third goal he conceded against West Ham. You don't just raise your left arm; you have to raise both your arms, and the deflection didn't really impede the path of the ball. So he should have just stood up big and batted that away, and he failed to do that. And I think. I just think right now that we have to sort of back Raya, but Raya will have his form monitored, obviously, and if he fails, if he flops again, Ramsdale then comes back in. But it just underlines the fact that neither of those two are going to be good enough to take us to the promised land of silverware, and I think we are just going to have to try and wait for the season to end, and then evaluate both goalkeepers and see which one we can keep and which one we should sell. But neither of those two goalkeepers will be our first choice next season if we are serious about winning trophies.
No.
I mean, there's still world-class goals, though, that he's given up, though, when you think about it. DeLon's goals were, like, really good. Like, some of those goals were, like, really good. Like, they're when you think about it, like, the quality of the goals that go through, like, Raya versus, like, Ramsdale, they're very different quality.
Yeah, they are. They are difficult. I noticed with Rio, he likes to play out from the back. I don't know if that's a Mikel Arteta's new strategy for this season. Obviously, bringing in Rio, because I always find I'm not really keen on this playing from the back. You know, it's really dangerous. And when Rio plays it, it's like you've got the opposition still lurking around him. You know, they're still in the box, and you're thinking just kick the ball down the pitch. Just kick it and be done with it. You know, I don't mind them when he rolled the ball to the defender, as long as there is nothing, you know, that either any opposition lurking around the box or actually in the 18-yard box. If it's there, the ball needs to be kicked. Then if they're not there, because it is a threat at the end of the day. I mean, he's been twice. I think it's 2 or 3 times he's actually passed it out to them, and they've actually had a shot on goal. But luckily, and I'm touching wood when I say this, I'll touch wood, we haven't conceded from that. But, you know, I mean, there's going to be a time where he's going to do that. And, you know, unfortunately, we're going to start conceding from a stupid pass out. And, you know, when it goes straight to the opposition, they're through on goal. So, you know, that's my opinion of it. But I think, yeah, I agree with both what you said. You both come up with interesting thoughts. I just feel, you know, if Rio he will be monitored with what he's doing. But if he doesn't improve, it's like what Manny said. They're going to call on Ramsdale, and that's it. Now going on to the next topic. This is yesterday's game. Arsenal 2, Sevilla 0. Was it easy? Don't worry about the last bit. How far can we go in the Champions League? Because we've already explained that. You know, we've already done that. Basically, I just want to say it was obviously winning 2-0 last night. Goals from Trossard and Bukayo Saka. Was it easy? It looked like to me it was easy. It did look like it was an easy win for Arsenal last night. The only reason being, let me just read out some of this. This is some of stats that I've actually pulled up. I mean, within the game, we had 11 shots, and Sevilla had 1. But we had 3 shots on target, hence the two goals, and the 1 goal that was I think it was shot by Trossard and the keeper saved it. So that was it. And we had 62% possession with their 38. And the passing accuracy was 87, theirs was 76. Fouls was 12 and 15. We had 12 fouls. They committed 15. Yellow cards, we had 2, they had 3. So in all fairness, you look at it, to me it seems like it was an easy game. It wasn't like an attacking flowing game as Arsenal normally play. The only reason why I say that is because when we play a good exciting game, attacking game of football, we seem to have more than 11 shots on goal. You know, that's a fact. But you know, I feel that looking back on last night's game, I felt it was easy. It was comfortable. I think Arsenal knew they were going to win. It's like what Manny said. They've rested some players. Sevilla. So, Bargav, let's get your thoughts on this game, mate.
Yeah, I think it was a good game. I mean, so Sevilla has this like derby at the weekend, right? Like Real Betis, I think they have to play. So they made a lot of changes, like prioritizing for that game. So it made us look a lot better, I think, than expected. But at the same time, I mean, some of the things that we did was fantastic. I mean, when you look at Martinelli, he was abusing that right back yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, so was it comfy? Yeah, because I think they let us play our natural game at home. I think, were we better than PSV? I don't think we were, personally. I think PSV gave us more of a fight. And yes, we scored 4 goals. But I think it was a little easier. It felt a little easier because I think Sevilla did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
but we should have scored more. Like Manny said, I mean, there's a few times that we could have they could have gotten in behind. You do that against like Wahi versus like Lons, because he was a star in that game. He was a star, like Elia Wahi, their star player. He was getting in behind like left, right, and center. Saliba had trouble with that.
Yeah.
If you do that versus Lons, like we're going to be in trouble. So,
We're going to be in trouble. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Manny, I'm going to come to you on this one. Mikel Arteta, he set out the formation, obviously the players he picked. Eddie Nketiah, obviously, as we know, wasn't up front. He was actually replaced by Trossard. We've mentioned on streams that maybe, because obviously we think sometimes Eddie is, when I say no good, or sometimes he don't step up to the plate. Number one, what was your thoughts on this one? Obviously, with Trossard up front and getting a goal, and can you see Trossard remaining there up front until Jesus gets back? Your thoughts, mate?
Absolutely, and I'll tell you why. Because the criticisms of Nketiah are that, you know, aside from the fact that he's able to score a few goals against some pretty poor quality teams, do that celebration, and then completely go missing when you know, the stakes are much higher. You take a look at the way he plays. He prides himself on being able to move very well and also try and get in behind like some of the other strikers. But you know, it's fine being able to do that, but if the ball doesn't come your way, then you've got to be willing to work even harder to try and make sure that you can get that. And bear in mind that you know, we had Aubameyang, who obviously was a goal poacher supreme. Nketiah isn't anywhere in his league as a striker or a player, but you could tell that Nketiah tries to sort of be that type of goal poacher who tries to move well and get into positions. But as far as the link up is concerned, it just doesn't really work that well. And with Trossard, we knew that when we signed him, we were getting a player of good technical ability. He had a good shot on him, obviously, and how he was able to, you know, keep the play moving. Let's be real, though. We had to play Trossard last night because of the injuries to Nketiah and Jesus. And that just underlines the fact that we are so far down to our bare bones in terms of squad depth. It's really not funny because, God forbid, if Trossard were to get injured, we can't play the 4-3-3. We might have to go to something like a 4-4-2 or maybe a 3-5-2. At least that way we'll know that we're playing 5 in the midfield instead of 4 at the back.
Or
but
4-2-1.
no, we used to do that with Gabriel Jesus when he was fit because he was an actual striker and was able to, you know, contribute to the play and score a few goals. We couldn't do that with Nketiah, and I don't think we can quite do that with Trossard as of yet, however good a player he might be. So the 4-2-3-1, of course, was when we were playing our best football last season. And it's full time at Villa Park. Aston Villa have just eked out a 2-1 win. They beat Alkmaar 4-1 on their home ground, so you could say it was a bit of a disappointment, but a win is a win. They are on 9 points, still joint top of their group and looking to go through. And what a job Unai Emery is doing. A good recovery from that dodgy defeat to Forest on Sunday. But yeah, so with Trossard, I would like to see him start against Burnley, but if only because I can't think of any other striker who could possibly replace him. We're going to have to go deep into the youth team as it stands, to try to get someone who could cover for him. And that's how desperate we're in right now. We're in dire straits. And it also must be said, Anthony, that Trossard has been a little bit inconsistent this season. Yes, we have to credit him for the Community Shield win, and yes, whenever he's come on as a sub, he's done well, but there were times when he started games and didn't quite look the part. But this position as a false 9 seems to be something like his best position. I also do like seeing Martinelli as a centre forward himself, so he and Martinelli can switch around. And that's another advantage of that. So, yes, I would like to see Trossard continue to play. And My only concern is that neither he nor Martinelli should get injured because, yes, technically we might have Reece Nelson as cover for both Saka and Martinelli, but for Trossard, if we don't have any fit strikers, boy, are we in trouble.
We interrupt. That's right, Manny. Absolutely right. I agree with you 100%. Do you agree with that as well, Bergov?
The Eddie and Kedia part, no. Like, I don't think. I think he's a perfect Crystal Palace player. I always wonder if like Crystal Palace execs are watching our games, and he's a perfect fit for them. I mean, occasional world class performances, Chelsea, Sheffield United, etc. He has decent tools. Now, as far as like as far as like the Trossard thing, I think you're right. I've been conflicted with this one because I think the Kai Havertz up top thing. I think I really wanted to see it, but it doesn't look like it's in the cards. I think like he's I think Arteta's sold on him being like the left what is it, like the Granit Xhaka, like left 8 basically. So I'm pretty sure he's like set on that for like the next like 2 years pretty much. Like that's why he spent so much money on it.
Maybe, yeah.
Like as far as like the Martinellis, you're right. I think Trossard for me is way better. With Nketiah, the issue that I have with him is he stagnates the attacks. He stagnates the attack, like the same thing Trossard does. Like with Trossard, it's more free flowing, but we only saw like one game, so let's give it some time.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's wait and see on that one.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. I totally agree with you. It just made a difference last night. It just felt like he was up for it, and he was so impacted, like during the game. And I just felt it was obviously with Eddie being injured. I just thought it was just a brilliant way of Trossard being there, scoring the goal. I mean, even if you had to rate Trossard out of 10, I mean, what would you rate him? Would you get from last night's game? Would you give him like a 7, 7.5, maybe?
Easily.
Easy.
He was winning the ball back. He was connecting well. Obviously, the goal was well taken. So I mean, 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5. Yeah. Right. Let's have a look. Matt's put in. He said the poll so far. There's 7 votes in this poll. How far would Arsenal go in the Champions League? 71% said quarterfinals, 14% said semi-finals, 14% said the final, but 0% the winners. Right. But anybody that hasn't voted, get your vote in the poll. That includes you, Manny Bargow. If you feel free, if you want to vote in the poll as well.
No second invitation required, mate. I'm going onto YouTube right now as we speak.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I was.
Good, mate. Yeah. Am I looking all right on YouTube? Am I? Just let me know.
Yeah.
All right.
As long as you look fine on StreamYard, mate, you're going to look fine on YouTube. I promise you.
Oh, superb! Absolutely superb. Thank you, Manny. When that comes to you, I'll take it. I'll take it. AFC always goes up and says Trossard is more of an impact player than a starter. Interesting. Anybody want to comment on that? Do you reckon? Do you agree with that? He's more of an impact player than a starter.
He leaves an impact, and as I did say earlier on, when he started games this season, he's looked a little bit inconsistent. But look, again, there is a part of me that also feels that this season Arteta's tactically been trying too much. He's been trying to, experiment and tinker a little bit too much, and in many ways he's just been playing one type of football, and it's frankly stupid. And I'm just taking a look at the poll right now. You've got winners, final, semi-final, and quarter-final, but you haven't got the second round.
No. Yeah, I've already said that. I didn't. Matt done the poll, but I suppose in Matt's way, he feels that Arsenal might reach the quarterfinals, maybe around the 16 quarterfinals. But
if we qualify as group winners, then it could be a possibility. But let's not underestimate the team we might face, because look, last year we qualified from our group in the Europa League as group winners, and look how that went. Dumped out by Sporting Lisbon. Gonçalves from the halfway line, not a single penalty saved. They had 2 players suspended, including their captain for the return leg at the Emirates, and they still knocked us out.
Yeah,
oh,
true.
Boy.
Yeah, and it's
I
safe to
was
say,
apoplectic.
yeah, so it's safe to say because obviously we know this is Matt's show. He's a Man United fan, and obviously commiserations last night losing 4-3 to Copenhagen. But you know, it looks like to me they're going to be playing Europa League, Man United, after in a while.
Yeah.
So you know, you might get a stream out of him on a Thursday. And obviously before this show, of course, depending on the time of the kickoff, you know. But AFC always goes on and says, we can't even blame the Cronkies. It's all on Arteta and Edu for the signings. Well, what are not good enough for Arsenal Football Club. Fact, 700 million Arteta has spent. Yeah, he has spent 700 million. And I totally agree with this comment. Arteta has been backed. For 4.5 seasons, 4.5 years. At the end of this season, I believe it is 4.5 years. At the end of this season, when when he first came, but 700 million in 4.5. That you can't say he's not been backed. I mean that is being totally backed in my opinion. And yeah, I do blame Arteta and Edu. I personally, I don't think you can. I mean, the fan base was obviously blaming the Cronkies. Going back a while ago, going back to last season, and then when January came, obviously he signed some players in January. Then he signed these players as well. Obviously, the 100 million with Declan Rice in that. So, in all fairness, you can't blame the Cronkies. You've got to blame Arteta and Edu for this. Is no prizer. I mean, Manny, Bargav. What's your thoughts on this? You possibly think that Arteta has been backed? Obviously you've got if you've got to blame someone, it's got to be the manager, and it's got to be Edu in the back boardroom.
I mean, we've said this all year. I think at the end of the day, at the end of this year, you're judged on winning one of those two big titles. It's gonna come down to it. As sad as it says, the one positive about this whole Arteta stint, I guess, is when you look at Man United's situation, right? They've had to implode their team. They've had chemistry issues with Ten Hag and all that. They're not going to be able to catch up chemistry wise as a team compared to us. The one thing is they can always get good players, but we've built up a decent core that now we can add to that core. So I think that's the only positive of the whole Arteta stint, right? When you think about it, because we have Martinelli who could probably be like an Eden Hazard down the line. When you look at Saka, he's he's developing every single year, so that's the one good part. I mean, we have a core. We just need we need game breaking quality, and that's the one aspect of it. Now, as far as but he has to win a title this year, I
totally agree with you. Yeah, at the start of this season, because obviously a lot of people said we bottled it last season. Obviously not winning the league. There were certain games. I can name a couple of games leading up to the towards the end of last season. Southampton game being one of them. The West Ham game being another. Losing to Everton when Sean Dyche made his debut as manager. That was another one. We lost 1-0. So there's a few games that we didn't bring our A game. But trouble is though, the reason why we didn't bring our A game is because with Mikel Arteta, it's like what I said. He's got a plan A, but doesn't have a plan B. He comes predictable with other, with obviously the opposition teams that we're playing in this week. All they've got to do is watch the footage and the videos on the telly and think, right, this is how they play. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to break them down. This is how we're going to stop Saka, Martinelli, Jesus be in the middle. We get to, it's all these different tactics, and this is why we're so predictable. I don't know why you don't swap it round a little bit. Obviously, between the attacking three. I mean, if Martinelli's attacking down the left and Saka's attacking down the right, if Martinelli's having a hard time attacking down that left, swap him over. Yeah. Let's see what Saka could produce at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? So it's just little things like that. And Arteta, where he's so stubborn and stuck in his own ways. To be honest with you, I don't think that guy likes change. I don't think he does. But that's me. I know Manny is dying to say something on this situation. Go on, Manny. What's your thoughts, mate?
Which situation are you talking about, though?
Obviously what we were talking about, with obviously with this comment as well. Obviously, we've been backed by the Cronkies, and obviously we feel like his Edu and Arteta. We've talked about this on a number of occasions, even when we've been on streams together. But also as well, how predictable is Arsenal and Mikel Arteta, and he doesn't like to change strategy or anything like that.
Oh, yes, Tony. You got Chef Manny in the house, and he's about to start cooking. I might have said this on a few occasions. Earlier on this season, he's experimented quite a bit too much, going so far as to pick Thomas Partey at right back so that he can sort of cut in and once again leave three at the back. But effectively, what you see is just effectively shuffling people into different positions just so that he can play one way. And all because he despises the idea of the traditional left back. He saw it fit to completely ill-treat Kieran Tierney, disgustingly marginalize him, and then, send him off to Spain, where he was balling beautifully, only to suffer another injury. But then, look, Timber's also out for quite some time. We got injuries of our own. So you can't, legislate for certain players. You can't say good riddance to Kieran Tierney. We don't need another injury-prone player, while feeling sympathy for some of our players who get injured all too often. And it's effectively just one style of football where, we just know that we're going to see, the inversion coming in. At least now with Tomiyasu starting at left back, we don't really see necessarily Tommy going too much into the midfield. He performs his defensive duties, and that's pretty much all we can expect of him. But with Zinchenko, you just know that the man can't defend for toffee. And it's still more or less the same type of system which is being played. So any team worth its salt will know that if they can nullify our wingers, Saka and Martinelli, and if they can, really have their wing backs or full backs bomb in hard against Zinchenko and Ben White, they're going to literally, be a threat, and it will have to fall on Saliba and Gabriel to try and save us again. Although the constant bombarding means that not even they can save us. Yeah. So it's effectively the same formation, the same tactics again and again and again, and it's stupid. I've spoken about Unai Emery and how his Aston Villa team obviously are a team that's sort of evolving, and he's the type of manager who is able to apply... He's able to apply different sort of tactics for different situations. I believe today he started with a 4-5-1 formation, which was, quite midfield heavy, and was playing the high line a great deal, which meant that that AZ Alkmaar were committing too many offsides in the first half. In the second half, of course, as I mentioned, they sprung the trap beautifully. They broke the trap beautifully and scored past Emi Martinez, only for Aston Villa to score a fortuitous second goal, equaliser, and then Ollie Watkins to get the second. But they're a team that is constantly evolving, and they're managed by a manager who is well aware of certain tactical formations and how they can and cannot work, and is willing to try a different formation, which he believes can get the type of result he would like, depending on the availability of certain players. And he does rest quite a few of his starters for the Conference League games. So he's a manager who tries something new, who obviously looks to evolve tactically and really show a lot more versatility. And with Arteta, you just see him try to be a little bit more like Pep, where it's basically just one style of football. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to adopt the 3-2-4-1 formation. The only problem is he doesn't have anywhere near enough midfielders or wingers to even try that nonsense. And he doesn't even have a striker who was anywhere near as prolific as Erling Haaland, or even Julian Alvarez for that matter. No. So, I just think tactically, when you stick to your principles, if they're not working well, it comes across as being exceptionally stubborn and arrogant and pig-headed and just unwilling to really change and evolve. And slowly but surely, it will sadly have to take a huge, embarrassing defeat, like the 6-1 and 8-2 reverses that we suffered against Manchester United at Old Trafford, to make fans see the light. The thing about the Newcastle game, Anthony, is because we only lost by 1 goal, people could say, VAR robbed us and we should never have lost that game. But the truth is we were never good enough. And yet, if we end up suffering results like that, at least we can start to, in theory, see that we are nowhere near as good as we think we are. And people were gassing up the win over Manchester City, but they had 2 of their key players injured. We did make them look very, feeble, and we were able to somehow nick that game. But we still have to play Liverpool twice, and they look very dangerous indeed. We've got to play Aston Villa twice, and they can certainly cause us a few problems. I mean, the prospect of Matty Cash going up against either Tomiyasu or Zinchenko. I mean, can you imagine the massacre? And then Luca Digne against Ben White. And then you've got the midfield of Douglas Luiz and Johnny McGinn coming up against Jorginho and Kai Havertz. And do not get me started on Ollie Watkins.
But I tell you what, Manny, you're saying with this, let me just read this question out, because this is like a really good question. AFC always says we need a striker, another midfielder, and a winger, possibly another centre-back too in January. Now, with this question, can you... I'm just going to give it short and brief. This is my opinion. He says we need a striker. This is Arsenal Football Club and Mikel Arteta. That's fact number 1. Number 2, I can't see us bringing in a striker. It'd be between Jesus and Eddie Nketiah. Any of them injured, you see it as it was last night. It'd be Trossard put up front there. Now, a midfielder, yeah, I can see the midfielder. There is rumours that I've read with Thomas Partey. There's a possibility that Thomas Partey could be leaving in January. I know AFCON is in January, that time of year, and he most probably will go to that. But there is rumours saying that he wants to leave Arsenal Football Club. Right. The other thing is the wingers, possibly. I'm thinking of a winger, someone in Saka's position. So you can rotate Saka in certain games. The only player I feel that can be adapted to Arsenal's style of play and is Premier League proven, right, is Pedro Neto from Wolves for me. I think that would be a good signing for Arsenal. I have read it, that could be possibility within the region of 50 million. This is what I've read. And also a centre-back. Now, if it's a centre-back, now what people are forgetting, we've got Timber to come back. Now, Timber can play back from right to centre to left. He could do all 3, Timber. Right? So this is what people are not thinking. But then again, that's me. I feel we're sort of all right in the in the defensive area. If we do get 2 players, if we do sign 2 players in January, for me, I think it'd be a centre back and it should be a player on the attacking winging role of the right hand side with Saka, and that's me with Pedro Neto. I don't know if any of you two agree, or if anybody agree in the comments, but Bargav, what's your thoughts on this one, mate?
So the transfer thing is interesting because I go back and forth with this. I mean, in the past, when you listen to like commentary on people talking about transfers, we should be at that point where like the next person that comes in should be able to be a starter or better than like the first team. Like, what's the point of like bringing them in? So like, I mean, I personally would like a Champions League experience as a priority. For bringing someone in. Like, I mean, so now with the striker thing, I guess Ivan Toney is like the big name, right? But it's still going to take him a year to adapt, in my opinion, with the Arsenal system and everything. Someone like Santi Jimenez is a really good option for me personally, as much as I hate Mexico. Like, he's a really good striker, though, like for Feyenoord, when you look at it. Like, but he's really like Gabriel Jesus. So are we looking for a target man? And probably Tony's the one. With Pedro Neto, I'm not really sold on that one. I think there's better. I mean, you're going to find better wingers out there. I think you're going to find better wingers out there. Winger, midfielder. If the Partey to like Juventus thing is like, it's definitely heating up. I think it would be a big loss to do it right now. He's technically like N'Golo Kante, like game breaker in like the really big games. So giving him up and replacing him is going to be really difficult. It's gonna
Well,
be.
you're not being funny. You can move Shevchenko up into there. If he likes the inverted,
but you
he
see
likes going up to that midfield, but we're not pleased any up there. Is that that's my opinion of that one.
so if we're gonna play Real Madrid, you think he could do a job versus Partey?
I think he might be able to. I mean, look at this way. I mean, he plays left back. He goes up to the DM position, and as we all know, he struggles to get back, which throws out our players. Which throws our players out of position anyway, because you'd have the likes of you'd have the likes of Gabriel and Saliba drifting over towards the left, and with one of our DMs coming down into the centre back position. But you know, he's always done it. That's always happened. You know, we've seen it on when watching games. But
with the center back thing, by the way, it's I don't think that will happen until the summer. I think we're gonna sign like better quality and not just what's out there.
Yeah, I know. But trouble is, though, is like you touched on Ivan Toney, and be honest with you, I like Ivan Toney. I think he's a good player, despite what he's done. But you got to think he hasn't really kicked a ball. I know he's just recently got back into training with Brentford, but he hasn't really kicked a ball. And with Brentford wanted 100 million for him, no way. I wouldn't even pay. I don't even think Ivan Toney is worth 100 million. So. That's that one. Manny, I'm going to make this quick because we've got two subjects to go through. I'm just going to quickly roll through this stream now because we're over the hour mark. We've gone for an hour 11 minutes. What's your thoughts on this one, mate? Do you agree with any of this, like any positions? And if so, what sort of players would you think?
We definitely need a striker, and I did mention Ollie Watkins, who is everything that Eddie Nketiah will never be. But given that Aston Villa are riding the crest of a wave, I predict that they will make it pretty much clear that he will leave Aston Villa over their dead bodies. Pedro Neto is an option. I'm not saying otherwise. As far as the midfielder is concerned, you know, there was talk about possibly trying to get Calvin Phillips from Manchester City to come and play for us. But, you know, I wouldn't be comfortable signing a guy who was amazing for England in the Euros, but since then was never able to really kick a ball in anger. And still now has some points to prove, especially given that the aging Jordan Henderson, even on his Zimmer frame, is still playing well for England. And I don't know if I can necessarily say off the top of my head which players would be wonderful to, come and play for us. Ivan Toney is a no-no in my opinion. I know that he may tick all the boxes, but I just think the whole gambling issue has pretty much sullied his reputation for me. And it really is hard to kind of think about it. And if PSG want to sign Saliba, we shouldn't expect less than 150 million bob for him. And it could be more, particularly, but I think it might also very well be that Arsenal decide that we cannot afford to lose him because he's that important to us. So the only problem is, of course, the way the way Arteta had treated him, you know, pretty much kicking him away on loan for several seasons, and you know, just not even allowing him to you know, play for a long period of time before welcoming him back and saying that you know, yeah, you are welcome back, and now you know, we need you more than ever. I think a lot of people might be. I think a lot of people might be saying that if we fail to achieve anything, we could end up, you know, we might end up losing a lot of our stars, whether it's Saka or Saliba or whoever it may be. But I hope he won't leave, but you just never know. And back to the original question, we definitely need a new central defensive midfielder, because if you're not going to at least give El Neni a chance over Jorginho, you might as well buy a new midfielder and let Mo leave at the end. And then you really can't aim to continue a season with both your first choice strikers injured and having to play Trossard as a false nine. As far as the defense is concerned, yes, we need some cover. Maybe we shouldn't have sold Rob Holding after all, although the fact that he hasn't kicked a ball for Crystal Palace does, you know, fill me with a mixture of satisfaction but also pity for the poor fella. And I just really can't think at the top of my head who'd be a perfect fit for us. We definitely would need a new, but next season, if we fail, I think several of our current players should be on their way out of the club, and that should give us a chance to really try and look for players who will improve our club in every way. And that also means that if I never see an inverted left back again, it will be too soon. But for that, Mikel Arteta will have to leave.
Yeah, that's right. I totally agree with you on that one, Manny. Bargav, should we just make this one quick now? That question, PSG, we shouldn't accept anything less than 150 million. Do you agree with that? Just like,
yeah, no way he's downgrading to that club. I mean, yeah, PSG. PSG is I think they're going to implode this year, personally. It's still waiting to happen. And when that happens, like, I don't think he's going to go there. But there'll be other clubs for sure. Like, Real Madrid's definitely going to be lurking. And there's definitely going to be clubs for him. It's still the best spot for him, like, developmentally for now. So,
yeah. Oh, that's brilliant.
Wages, though, man, what's his wages? Like, we gave him 200, right? We gave him 200.
I think he signed a new contract, didn't he? He come to us, like one of Unai Emery's buy, and then we loaned him back out. We loaned him to Marseille, I think it was. He come back, and he's been an incredible player. Then he signed a contract. Then, yeah, I think it's somewhere between about 180 to 200 grand a week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But
it's getting increased to 300. You give him 300.
Yeah,
300
easily. That's money well spent. I would rather give him a wage, a player like that, than well, giving Kai Havertz 300 grand a week. Gee, no.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on with these comments. I'll quickly go through the other stuff we got to talk about as well. It says the polls in so far. How far would Arsenal go in the Champions League? 60% now are seeing the quarterfinals, 10% are now seeing the semi-finals, and 30% are seeing the final. 0% for the winners. That's okay. That's fine. I think he's agreeing with you on this one, Manny. AFC always says, Manny, VAR was shocking against Newcastle, but our performance was even more shocking. Yeah, we totally agree with that one. FC always says, Anthony Timber is not coming back until April time. Blame me. I thought if that's the case, I've seen him out of crutches in that, so I thought he was getting around a bit. So I could be wrong. Brentford want 100 million for Antonio. For me, and Arsenal won't pay it. Move in January. No, we won't pay it at all. No. Question to the panel: would you take Calvin Phillips in the summer next to Rice? We've just touched on that one. AFC always. Manny always touched on that one. Personally, if it was me, no. He's got to redeem himself. I think Man City are better off sticking him out on loan and then seeing what he can do, and then. If he plays well, we'll probably go in for him then if he improves his game in midfield. Yeah, right. So we're just going to go and bring up the next topic, the Burnley preview. Obviously, we got Burnley this weekend. What are we expecting in this game? I'll quickly start and say my bit. I think we should win. Without a shadow of doubt, we should win this game. No ifs, no buts. I just feel that it'd more likely be roughly the same team, in my opinion, that Mikel Arteta played in last night's Champions League game. That's what I feel. Burnley, they've only won one game this season. I think they're going to find it hard. Obviously, the three teams that came up from the Championship last season, they've all won one game now. Luton won their. Was it Luton? Or no, it was Sheffield United that won their game last weekend, wasn't it? Their first win of this season. So in my opinions, Arsenal should win, not a problem. Manny, your thoughts on this one?
Should be an easy win, and I really can't see Vincent Kompany deviating from his tactical formation. Hopefully he realizes that playing a back five hasn't really been helpful very much. He might perhaps consider doing a Sean Dyche and maybe playing a 4-5-1 or at least a 4-4-2. This could be a good time for Burnley to play us, because our midfield really, if it's going to be Jorginho and Havertz starting again and Jorginho captaining the team, those two are going to be looked at as the weak links, especially with Odegaard out. And nullifying Declan Rice is also going to be high on the agenda, while also preventing any kind of supply to Saka and Martinelli. In short, the same game plan that Eddie Howe successfully applied against us. And Vincent Kompany's a smart fella. He might not be able to get his Burnley team to do very much in the Premiership right now, but he took them up as winners of the Championship by a country mile. So he will have done his homework, credit to him. And I think he'll look to try and, look for any weak links. But we should have enough in us to beat them because defensively they're not really the best. I know that Trafford is very highly rated as a goalkeeper, but he's been let down in some cases by his defense, and I just wonder if his confidence is starting to get shot a little bit. It might be time to bring Ari Muric back in, but should be an easy win for us. It might not necessarily be comfortable. I'd feel comfortable predicting a 3-1 win, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're made to struggle for a win. If we fail to win, then you can see the wheels perhaps starting to fall off just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win. I've already said my bit about the game. I'm going to go 3-0 win to Arsenal. Bargav, your thoughts on the game and also your score prediction.
3-0. 3-0. I mean, Tottenham and Chelsea have beaten this team up. Even Everton have beat this team up. I mean, from what I've seen, I think they struggle on the counter, so they get countered really hard. Yeah. So I think Martinelli, Saka should be scoring. Is Nketiah available? This is a perfect game for him to audition for his new club.
Well, I think of another act what he did against Sheffield United.
This is a game he could do that. I think. For me, it should be an easy one. At home too. It's at home. Everyone's going up for it.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Right, I think we're all done now. Yeah, I think we just made it up there. All the comments are done. Right, that's before we go. Do you want to give yourself a shout, Bargav? Do you want to give yourself a shout out first?
Yeah, I don't really do YouTube. I mean, I'm on Instagram. I mean, bcondetti1. I'll put that on there somewhere. But that's pretty much it. I love coming and talking about these streams every once in a while. Yeah. It's the Arsenal, man. It keeps us going throughout the year.
It keeps us going. It keeps us going. It keeps me going. I'll tell you, I'm 45 and all the grey hair. Look, I'm starting to go thin hair on the top as well. Pulling out my hair, it's terrible. This is going back
to you use some of that serum. I mean, it'll happen to all of us, but use some of the serum. Do use a mild shampoo. You're going to be just fine. I promise.
Oh, brilliant! Thank you, man. I knew I could rely on you. If anyone was to give me advice, it'd be Manny. Manny, where can everybody find you two, mate?
Well, first of all, big up to you, Mr. Herbert. Thank you for having me on. You will definitely find me on here, and I will shout you out, of course. Always a pleasure to come on. Shout out as well to Mr. Condetti. We do the Instagram thing together. We chat at times about football and cricket, and it's good to chat with him. Instagram, you can catch me at MannyThangatherai1981. That's also my Threads ID. And on Twitter, you can catch me at Thangatherai1981, which is my surname and my year of birth. Elsewhere on YouTube, Del Boy Gunner TV, Coach's Corner, Oris Talks Football, Tony Claude Gunner TV, Danny AFC TV, Up the Cherries in all departments, Eugene Spurs Asia TV, The Southern Gooner. Have I mentioned AFC Talk Show TV? I think, no, I haven't. And several other channels that I've been on and been with. Big shout out as well to Warren's Team Talk. He did an interview with me talking about my life as a football fan. I don't know if he was able to successfully upload that. He tried that once and it didn't quite go through. So hopefully it would have worked out the second time. But otherwise, he's got a terrific channel as well. One of my favorite, most respected people on YouTube. Yeah, and there are several others as well. Can't really name all of them because I'm absolutely knackered at the moment and need to sleep. But always a pleasure to come on and talk football, talk any type of sport, really. And I always say that if we can't learn to agree to disagree without being disagreeable, there's no point in having a discussion. Always be respectful to one another. Avoid making any needless snide or banter-related comments. We need to make sure that our community is respectful as possible. Yeah. Even if, we might have very strong opinions with which others might not necessarily agree. And once again, Anthony, thank you again. Thanks to all of you in the chat who've contributed. Thanks to everyone who's watched this video. You're the ones who make this stream and Anthony's channel what they are. Do take care of yourselves. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the sporting action to come. European football is done for this week, but there is Premiership football and then some more in the coming weeks. Take care of yourselves. Be safe and be happy, and don't do anything that the panel and I wouldn't do. But for now, it is farewell to thee and goodbye, and God bless to each and every one of you. Cheers.
Cheers. And on that respect, yes, we're all off now, and we're all going to go. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, what's left of it. And obviously have a good weekend. We won't be here the following weekend because obviously I think it's internationals, isn't it? So international football. So that's it. And we're out of here.